many, many people at this time of year will want to be listening out to my next guest. He has been on the airwaves here with us on BBC Radio Kent once before. His name is Asanka Weeratunge, Programme Manager at the London Academy of Trading. And he's going to share a little bit of financial advice with us. Let's face it, I mean, this is a shocking time of year when I'm sure all our bank balances are groaning just a little bit. That's the normal thing for January, isn't it, Asanka?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, hi, welcome. Hi, nice to be here, sorry. Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree. There's a bit of worry in the air at the moment, no doubt.
Well, we need your wise words and your wisdom because, as I say, there's two things worrying me about 2023. Already, we have TV shows coming out of our ears of people who've had the awful experience of having fallen for scams. And there are many different ones. There are the romance scams. There are scams where people click on links thinking it's someone trying to deliver a parcel to them. Maybe over Christmas, this is something you might have had people try to get your bank details when they shouldn't be. It's none of their business. They've asked for those so they can basically try and gain access to your account, your money, your pounds and pennies. What would your advice be there? I know you're at the London Academy of Trading. I imagine you sadly see cases like this more regularly than you want to.
Yeah, absolutely. I think probably we're going to see it more so going forward as scammers know that the levels of desperation are probably increasing. Therefore, targets are more really. I think probably the main thing to take into consideration is if you can get help from a bank in terms of cybersecurity, take it. Lots of banks, in fairness, are offering multiple ways to secure your account, secondary, tertiary checks before anything comes out. It's often quite irritating. I know when I pay for something online, I have to verify that payment often twice before it goes through. It's irritating, but I think we do need to do such things. So speak to your bank because they will have procedures in place where they'll try and help you as best. But I think you're also alluding to the concept of, voluntarily giving over your bank details via an email or via a phone call. Again, it sounds terrible, but I think we just need to be really sort of skeptical about any approach that's made to us.
Don't do it.
Yes, that's it. I mean, I hate that sort of feeling, the feeling of, you can't trust anybody because it doesn't bode for a pleasant environment. That's the kind of way you have to go at this moment in time because you're right, it's happening, more and more often, but it's because people are trustworthy. There's levels of desperation. It's quite simple, I think. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
Yeah, it's an old saying, but the old sayings are the ones that come about and repeatedly because there is that grain of truth in at the bottom of them, isn't there?
No, absolutely. I mean, I was given a lecture yesterday on campus and I used that exact phrase. People said, how do you identify a get-rich-quick scheme? And I said, I think, or a fake get-rich-quick scheme. And I think the telltale is in the title. If it's get-rich-quick, I think that, you needn't go any further. If you identify that it's easy money, according to a scammer, offering huge returns, very little risk, such and such, then that's probably a red flag straight away.
Buyer beware, I suppose, is the message, isn't it? Any ways that we can all, we're talking about protecting the money you've got, that's great. How can we, and can we with your help possibly as the programme manager there at the London Academy of Trading, maximise our money? Are there safe ways to do that in 2023?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. There's a multitude of ways you could do it. I would probably always say take some advice from a professional again, whereas professionals, I mean, not just us, but, financial advisors, a lot of them do give good advice. And I think what you need to work out is before you get into this, what would you be happy with? A lot of people get enticed into bigger and bigger returns, but of course with that comes bigger risk. So I think identify what you'd be happy with and then identify what the risk would be through different types of funds more passively, or if you're feeling like taking a more hands-on approach, then you could actually look to invest yourself rather than put it in the hands of a professional, if that makes sense.
I love the idea of that, and I'm listening to you saying that. I'm thinking, it sounds very simple when you say it, because obviously you know how the world of money works. For a bit of a klutz like me, and I must admit, I do like to stick my head in the sand. The worse it's going with my bank account, the less I want to know about it and look at it. What tips would you give to someone like me, a complete newbie in the world of finance, that I could do to make sure that the money I've got in the bank, I maximise it, I get the best potential out of that? Because we are all, however much money we have at the end of the month, we all need those words of wisdom that you can share with us hopefully now in 2023, because my goodness, do we all need our money to go that bit further?
No, absolutely. I guess the first thing would be a bit of self-reflection and identify realistically, what sort of skill set you might have, what sort of time you have to give towards this. And only then could you realise what's potentially possible. We have people at our academy from ages 16 to 84. And
wow.
I'll be perfectly honest with you. Often when an 84-year-old walks through our doors, what they have in mind just isn't achievable. So I do, I've spent a first day with somebody teaching them that there were two buttons on a mouse, for instance. Yeah, that was day one. I'm not kidding. So I think you have to, look in the mirror and really understand what you could give to it before you sort of jump in. So understand your ability, yourself, your time constraints, how much effort are you willing to put forward. And then from there, you could work out what avenue might be best. I know a lot of people, I'll take my parents as an example. I know that they'd happily just passively put some money somewhere and let someone else deal with it. And then I'd know somebody, for instance, a little bit more understanding of financial markets, a bit more time they can give towards it, a bit more technical savvy, might identify that they can actually, buy and sell things themselves and make a little bit more gains. So I think probably the first thing is self-reflection, identify realistically the time constraints you have, the effort levels you're willing to put into it. And then from there, you can work out which avenue might be best.
You see, if I'm looking at my skill set and recognising the areas that I absolutely am passionate about and very, very good at, it's all to do with the spending side of it rather than the making side of it, because I can absolutely talk handbags and lipsticks with you till the cows come home. And boy, am I good at spending my money on those items. But it's the holding back the money and going, I might need that to retire on, and I might get more money out of it if I don't buy that handbag, if I don't buy that treat in the January sales. When you say there the breadth of ages that you have there at the London Academy of Trading, is your message really that anybody at any age can get better at this?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I think it's very simply a case of just knowledge. If you still have the aptitude or the capability to learn, and some people pack that in at 22, Erika, some people can continue learning into their 70s, 80s.
I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet. I'm somewhere in the middle of those two age gaps that you mentioned.
No, that's it. So as long as you have the aptitude and you can learn and you can practice things and you have, you understand how that you're going to fail and you give it another go, then by all means, everybody can get better at it. It's just a case of, going step by step. Everyone at our academy move at different paces, and we're fully aware of that people's ability to digest information, to actually apply such instruments, indicators and so on and so forth, and types of analysis, they're all different. So we fully understand that. It can be done. So the idea is search to get some knowledge before you put any money on the table, in my opinion. Do as much due diligence as possible, read, talk to people. I'd like to say get some education, because that's what we do, but if not with us, with anybody, because I think that's the sort of thing that you should do. Because the example I'd use is, if you're planning to open a restaurant, you're not just going to open a restaurant because you make an amazing lasagna. You're actually going to understand how a restaurant business functions. You're going to understand what the pitfalls are, all the risks, the downside of having a restaurant, and do some research before you launch a restaurant. It's the same before you trade investor money.
Just remind me, if people are listening to you and they are inspired to, take you at your word and actually make 2023 the year they get good at maximising their finances, because, as I say, no one, no matter what level you're at, can do with not listening to this, I don't think, because let's face it, we've all been prepared. 2023, I hope not, but it might be a very difficult year for many people with the cost of living crisis continuing. How can people find out more about what you offer at the London Academy of Trading there, where you are the Programme Manager, Asanka, and how that might benefit them, and how do they find out more if they want to take the next step?
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to offer essentially a method to approach financial markets where you can essentially get some returns that you try and identify, small, large, bigger, but obviously with that comes bigger risk. But we have different types of programs, different lengths of programs, all the way up to an accredited qualification. We've been established in City of London for over 10 years now. But you could visit our website, www.lat.london, or you're welcome to come on campus. We're just off Tottenham Court Road in Fitzrovia. Come and have a chat with us before you sign up for anything. But the idea is get some education in the field first before you start to invest. But it's interesting what you said. I would also say that, I think something we must also focus on is cutting back as well. A lot of people would just focus on, increasing net profitability by making more gains, but you can take the strain off having to make more gains by reducing your losses in terms of cutting back. I was having a chat with some school kids not too long ago about this, and I'm not entirely sure that generation understands the concept of cutting back and rationing, but maybe that's something for the older generation to step up and educate us on, because they did it.
Absolutely. And that's the thing, I suppose, what we're going through now. We feel the pinch. We know it's hard and you feel like you're the first person experiencing that pain. But let's face it, the world has been through these situations before. And the good news is we will get through it again, however bad it gets in 2023. Just when your line cut out there, Asanka, I did say I'd love to get you back on the radio more regularly because I can't see this being a concept that we're not going to need to be reminded of in 2023. We know it's going to be a tough year. Can I get you back on maybe in the next couple of weeks here on BBC Radio Kent and you can share any other words of wisdom on a more regular basis? Because let's face it, everyone needs to make those pounds and pennies go a little bit further. Is that okay?
Yes, I'd absolutely love to.
Fabulous. We will make that happen. Thank you for your time today.